Welcome everyone to imaginativevisions.com Gaming Central. And for Gaming Central today, my friends, we are going to be talking about the indie horror game Dread Flats. As always, I give you a brief synopsis before I talk about story, gameplay, graphics, sound, and replay value. So let's get into the synopsis. This is a first person Chinese horror game. Players will go to a murder building, uncover the truth of the murder, and find the missing people. And that's pretty much the whole gist of this. But this is an indie game that definitely is based on just atmosphere, especially in terms of the story, which we're going to talk about right now. So you're set in this Chinese apartment back in the 1990s, and it places the player in a world stepped into like urban legends, and the narrative unfolds through exploration and environmental storytelling rather than cutscenes or exposition dumps. And notes are scattered around the objects. There's some unsettling details about the missing people, and the story is equally part ambiguous and terrifying at the same time. And that fragmented approach to the storytelling might not be for everybody. Some players may crave more clearer answers, but for fans of psychological horror, you're used to that type of ambiguity type of storytelling. And the cryptid storytelling only adds to the dread, to be honest with you, but it invites you to fill in the blanks with what's going all around. And the environment and the gameplay really does help you with that type of storytelling. You do get a little bit of details of the character. The character is filming this because he wants to obviously go live with this. He wants to, if he gets enough evidence, he feels like he's going to be rich. So he's going to be staying here, I think, for 2 or 3 days for $10,000. And he's trying, of course, get more subscribers, and he's going to post what his findings are. So he has a motive of what's going on here. But I will have to say the story is actually pretty good. But I would say the story would have been a little bit better if there was a little bit more exposition to explain to the audience. But let's talk a little bit about the gameplay here. Let's talk a little bit about the gameplay here because at the core of Dread Flats, it's about survival and discovery. There are no flashy combat systems or over the top boss fights. Instead, the gameplay relies on three pillars. You have exploration, you're moving through dimly lit halls, inspecting objects and piecing together clues. There's stealth, where you have to avoid unseen dangers lurking around. And then you have your chase sequences, which are carefully placed moments where panic spikes and survival becomes basically instincts. And the minimalist work is in its favor. It creates an atmosphere where every flickering light and distant creak matters, and still the sparse mechanics can leave some players wishing for more variety, especially after repeated playthroughs. But I will have to say this game's atmosphere does bring the fear. It takes a lot, and I mean a lot. So for someone like me who plays horror and consumes horror, watches horror on not a daily basis, but at least on a weekly basis, I'm doing something horror related. It takes a lot for me to be on edge and just feeling that sense of dread. But Dread Flats definitely brings that sense of dread, and credit to that because I'm going to get into the sound down the line, but the sound plays the big part of why this game is so intense with its dread. But as far as the gameplay goes, just the use of the mechanics of just that exploration, you've seen this before in a lot of the first person horror games. But what makes this one different is just the fact that the location, the story behind it, the graphics, the use of the sound. And let's talk about the graphics here because the game wouldn't be as scary if it wasn't for this type of location. This is an abandoned apartment building complex, folks. You can just see from the textures of the lights, things are just been destroyed, things are decayed. And if I could just imagine the smell might not be. If imagine if we could actually start to smell these locations in these horror games, I can imagine that the smell is just atrocious. But the game does such a good job of just illustrating that sense of dread every from the beginning. of this with the lighting effects, from the color palette use. You just feel on edge like something is here, something's not right, and the character designs of the monster as well. Simple but effective because of the way it's presented here. There are jump scares in here, but the jump scares are breathable moments, meaning it's not one after the other. And it got me a couple of times because there's moments in here where I wasn't even expecting a jump scare. It's just like one of those chilled moments. You're like, okay, I'm safe. There's no music cues to indicate something's here, and then boom, it just gets you. Something's around the corner, or something runs across the screen, or you hear a sound and you got to turn around and you turn back around, and boom, it's right there. So there's moments in here with the scares that just resonates here, and I thought it was a really good job. Now, in terms of the sound, this is where I say it's its biggest strength because the sound plays such a huge role in the horror game, in this one especially, because there's moments in here as you're walking, you can hear the creature is either behind you or in one of the apartments watching you. There's constant use of marbles in this game where you hearing the marbles being played by children or the beast itself, or the entity itself I should say, and you can hear it through your headphones. Highly recommend with your earbuds or headphones, by the way. So you can hear the cracking, you can hear the breathing, you can hear the doors creaking. It's very unsettling, and especially this being in first person, it puts you right in there. I thought the sound did a phenomenal job of capturing that sense of dread and really capturing that horror. Now, as far as the replay value goes, at first glance, Dread Flats is short, with many plays finishing under 2 hours, but its design encourages revisits. There's some multiple endings, some hidden details, and a handful of achievements that give us incentives to dive back in. The real replayability, however, lies in the atmosphere itself. Experiencing the game again with new knowledge reframes its spaces and audio cues, revealing just how carefully it was constructed. So I'm going to give my final rating right now for our good friend Dread Flats here. So we have, let's bring up our power bar. And here's the power bar, folks. Max up, a must play masterpiece. We have level up, excellent, engaging, and rewarding. Checkpoint reach, good, fun, but with some flaws. Low health, weak, struggles to deliver, and then game over, not worth your time. I'm going to be giving Dread Flats a level up. This is an excellent, engaging, and rewarding fun time. Folks, my friends, thank you for watching Gaming Central. This is Justin. If you like what we do here, hopefully we earned your subscription. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. And for a full written review, visit imaginativevisions.com.